And now the Middle Eastern war that is escalating, and it's escalating rapidly. Iran has intensified its attacks with strikes reported in Beersheba and Beit Shemesh in Israel. In response, Israel says it will not back down, while the President of the United States has claimed that Iran wants to surrender. Amid growing military pressure while visiting attack sites in Beit Shemesh is Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who spoke about Prime Minister Modi, calling him a great friend, and thanked India for the support it is rendering towards Israel. On the ground, the Israeli Defense Forces say they've struck over 70 Hezbollah facilities, targeting infrastructure and launchers in southern Lebanon. Iran has also reportedly launched a new super heavy missile and fired at the US bases, marking a dangerous new phase as far as the conflict goes.
Say a word.
Yes, sir.
Can you say a word?
Yes, I spoke.
How was the meeting, sir?
I spoke to our great friend, Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Spoke to him at length yesterday. Thanked him for his standing with Israel, standing for the truth, and for the enormous friendship of the people of India. They are much admired and loved in Israel, and I won't get into the details of the conversation, but I've spoken to him and I've spoken to many other leaders in the region and beyond. Thank you.
NDTV is right now in one of the locations that was attacked. You can see just behind me Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who has visited this place. This is one of the locations where a deadly attack took place. 9 people were killed, and there were in fact more than 25 who were injured out here. You can see Netanyahu in fact visiting this particular location out here, and this is the latest that we are picking up in Beit Shemesh, where in fact these are the visuals of the destruction that has happened all across. You can see the level of the destruction. The Prime Minister that is in fact looking at the visuals right now of the mayhem that occurred yesterday in the Iranian missile attack here, and of course these are the live visuals here on NDTV exclusively as we report on the West Asian crisis all across completely. Let's stay with these visuals of Prime Minister Netanyahu actually looking at the location. There were 9 people who died, but also children who became victims of this complete mayhem that has happened here. There are 3 different locations that were hit in Jerusalem and Tel Aviv in the last 3 days. Today is the 3rd day of the conflict taking shape here. But now, of course, the big question really, how will this conflict end? What is the end game really? And how exactly will peace be restored in the Middle East? Reporting from near Jerusalem in Israel, this is Aditya Rajkol for NDTV.
Thank you, Aditya, for getting us those details. Let's talk about, how much has the war escalated in the last 4 days. We're on the 4th day, and the Iranian retaliatory strikes have, in fact, gone ahead, and it covered most of the Middle Eastern region. We're talking about from Israel to Jordan to Syria, including Iraq, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, and the UAE, as well as Oman. Do remember, Oman was the country that was trying to play as a mediator, and peace talks were being initiated. Now, these are the key geographical references to keep in mind as far as the Gulf states are concerned. We're talking about Kuwait, where the US embassy was attacked. We're talking about Bahrain, where the attacks continue, as well as in Qatar. In the UAE, there was a cluster of buildings that were hit, and that was because there were US troops in the area. Oman is also, of course, as we have said, the Strait of Hormuz is also impacted. Do remember that Strait of Hormuz has been shut down. The Arabian Gulf, Jordan, and Syria. These are the countries that are also involved in the conflict now that is escalating, and it is the US who is asking for its citizens to leave those conflict-hit areas. Now, a regime change from outside is rare or impossible. Israel's opposition leader spoke exclusively to NDTV's managing editor, Shiva Rood. He stressed that it's ultimately up to the Iranians to decide their future. Let's listen in.
Yair Lapid, he is the leader of the opposition in Israel. He is live with me tonight from Tel Aviv. Mr. Lapid, thank you for your time. It is a difficult period for your country, for the region, for Iran, for innocent people in all of these places that stand affected. And I know there have been casualties in your country as well. As day 3 comes to an end since this operation began, what's going through your mind? What are your thoughts today, Mr. Lapid? I'd like to begin with that.
Well, the first thought was that you said 3 days, and I thought to myself, it looks like 3 months. Because of the scale of the events. I just came back here, before talking to you, I came back from the city of Bet Shemesh, in which I visited the site of a missile fall that killed 9 people, among them 3 children from the same family. So what's going through my mind, I'm thinking about the mother and the father of those 3 children. Israel, like India, is a country in which family ties are the most important thing, is the core of the culture. And for us, it's devastating. But we understand that we're fighting a just war. It doesn't happen often, that in 21st century, there's a moral clarity the way there is now. It is a just war against a horrible regime that is not only a danger to Israel and to the entire global community, but also to its own people. Just last month, in January, we saw the young people of Iran taking to the streets, trying to fight this very oppressing regime. So it is the right war, it is a just war, but it doesn't make it any easier on the people of Israel.
How do you think the war is going? From your perspective, Mr. Lapid, war is a difficult and dirty business, but in your view, how is it going? You're calling it a just war that is being fought, but as day 3 comes to a close, how do you think it's going?
Well, I think the war has 3 goals, very different goals. Well, the first one is, of course, to obliterate the nuclear facilities of Iran in order to prevent it from developing nuclear weapons. The second one was to obliterate the ballistic missile operation of Iran. I think we're cut. Can you still listen to me? Can you still hear me?
Yes, please.
Oh, okay, I lost picture. So I'll just keep on going. Anyway, so the second was to obliterate the ballistic missile program of Iran. And the third is to maybe enable the people of Iran to take the fate into their own hands and topple this horrible regime and substitute it with something that is more tolerable for them, for the freedom of young people, for women's rights, and so on and so forth. So I think we're doing well on the first 2, and I don't know about the third.
What kind of an outcome are you looking at, from Israel's perspective? When you say regime change, and you've qualified that this isn't about the country, but the regime that's running it, you've called it a terror regime. The Khamenei has been killed. Most of the leadership has been eliminated. The country is in a state of collapse. What does Israel want to see happen in Iran? It's easy to say that you want the people to come over, and take power. What does that mean exactly?
Well, it's hard to impossible, very hard to impossible, to change a regime with airstrikes, as successful as they are. And we saw last January the courageous of the young people who took to the streets and tried already to topple the regime. Now we're enabling them, or at least improving the conditions. The command and control abilities of the regime has been demolished or almost demolished, and we saw Khamenei is gone, and the majority of the leaders of the regime is gone. So we have now the second or third column of leaders, and the Revolutionary Guards bases are hit significantly. So the conditions around them is different. The question whether or not they will do something about it, is up to them.
The former Prime Minister of this is Israel speaking with Shivarur, stressing that ultimately it's up to the Iranians to decide their future. With that, we're stepping into a short break. Back with a whole lot more on the other side. Just stay with us.
West Asia at war. Netanyahu thanks Prime Minister on NDTV.
I spoke to our great friend, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, spoke to him at length yesterday, thanked him for his standing with Israel, standing for the truth.
Israel opposition leader Yair Lapid speaks to NDTV.
Is there going to be an Iranian Gandhi who will free his own people from oppression? So it's up to them.
Israel Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar on NDTV.
Israel and US going to leave Iran in a complete chaos? Do you think that there will be a civilian leader who could take over?
Not Israel and not the US will decide who will lead the Iranian people.
The voices that matter speak first and exclusive to NDTV.
AI smartphone brand. Motorola Signature, India's #1 camera phone. Grab Motorola Signature today.
Iran intensifies its attacks, striking Israel and a variety of targets inside Gulf states, including energy facilities in Qatar and the American embassy in Saudi Arabia. The US has issued Depart Now alerts for more than a dozen countries, 15 in particular in the Middle East, including Saudi Arabia, Egypt, as well as Oman and the UAE. Israel and the United States pounded Iran in an escalating campaign. This is that the United States president has said would likely take several weeks. Tehran and its allies hit back across the region while sirens are blaring. They can be heard blaring across Tel Aviv. Israel strikes Lebanon after Hezbollah launched rockets and drones. Israel strikes Hezbollah command centers and a weapon facility. Huge blasts are heard in Beirut. Rows of freshly dug graves for Iranian school children killed in recent US-linked airstrikes have become a stark symbol of the human cost of the war. Iran releases these visuals of the graves being dug for 150 girls killed during operations. These are military operations that were led by the US and Israel.
The man behind Roaring Lion,
Can you say a word?
Israel's warfighter prime minister on NDTV.
I spoke to our great friend, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, spoke to him at length yesterday, thanked him for his standing with Israel, standing for the truth, and for the enormous friendship of the people of India. They are much admired and loved in Israel, and I won't get into the details of the conversation, but I've spoken to him and I've spoken to many other leaders in the region and beyond. Thank you.
First word since he declared war on Iran.
Just behind me, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
An NDTV world exclusive to Aditya Raj call. Benjamin Netanyahu on NDTV.
आपको शायद पता नहीं होगा, अपार ने INS विक्रांत के लिए 150 से ज्यादा तरह के केबल्स बनाए हैं। देश के टॉर्पीडोस में भी हैं अपार के केबल्स। वंदे भारत भी अपार के केबल से ही स्पीड पकड़ती है और यही वायर्स और केबल्स हमारे घरों को भी पावर करते हैं। विश्वास इसमें अपार तभी तो ये है देश का तार।
Across the country.
He has tracked the pulse of power from Washington to Korea. Witnessed history being made in global capitals and conflict zones. Brought clarity to complex issues of national security and international affairs. Aditya Raj Call, covering international affairs like no one else, only on NDTV network.
को यहाँ से जाना ही होगा।
There is no bigger battle in 2026. And nobody has reported Bengal like I have. Buckle up for an unforgettable election thriller. Will the BJP breach Mamta's fortress?
TMC जावे, BJP अस्त.
Well, Middle Eastern tensions due to the ongoing war have raised fears of the Strait of Hormuz, a key maritime route being closely threatened. This is basically what's really being threatened here are the crude oil and LNG supplies for Asian countries, including India and China. Tensions are escalating in the Gulf after an oil facility operated by Saudis, Aramco, was struck in Saudi Arabia. Meanwhile, Qatar Energy has announced a halt in the LNG production. Visuals show the damage at the refinery site, raising concerns about potential disruptions to crude processing and exports. Striking, these are satellite images that show the damage done to the Ras Tanura refinery in Saudi Arabia. An oil tanker was reportedly struck off the coast of Oman, while the impact is already being felt in Europe, where gas prices have surged by nearly 50% amid supply concerns. India's Petroleum Ministry is reviewing fuel supply and strategic reserves in order to assess any potential fallout from the unfolding situation. And talking about India, last evening, the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas held a key huddle with top officials and PSU heads in order to monitor the situation in the Gulf and prepare strategies in order to absorb oil shocks by ensuring availability and affordability. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister held key conversations over the phone with kings of Bahrain, Jordan, and the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman, while India has around 85 days' worth of strategic and commercial oil reserves. All eyes are on the government's next moves, with Russian oil emerging yet again as a viable supply chain offset. However, many other global South partners remain as possible options in order to pivot to as well. Let's just switch tracks and get you what's happening as far as air travel is concerned. And air travel across the United Arab Emirates is beginning to take off after days of disruption. A plane from Abu Dhabi landed in New Delhi carrying passengers who were struck. These are passengers who were stuck due to the tensions in the Middle East. Authorities and airlines announced that select services have resumed, offering relief as far as thousands of passengers stranded after widespread airspace closures across the Gulf. Do remember, there's also a flight coming in from Dubai, an Air India flight that's expected to be landing here in Delhi.
There is a first flight from Dubai just arrived in Chennai International Airport. We have one passenger from Dubai just landed here. So what exactly the situation is? What was the moment for you? Like definitely it would have been a frightened moment. So can you...
Yeah, so I was about to board my flight out of Dubai and I flew in there from Chennai. And then as soon as I was about to board, the news came out that the war had been declared. And no one was boarding any flights. The people who had boarded the flights also were just on a standstill over there. And then around like 30-40 minutes later, they told us that the airspace is closed completely. No flights are going to be taking off.
There is maybe war. I really saw in my eyes in four building blasts. There is a 190 missiles. Dubai defended all of them. We are safe.
Like we were a little frightened.
Okay.
And then today we got relieved. Like we saw Modi ji, Prime Minister ji spoke, and then I think that worked. And then this was the first flight, I believe.
Yeah.
And no other country they were flying, only for India. 4 flights were there. So we were lucky. We have come back home.
I'm based in Dubai, but Dubai airports and everything is closed and things were not very normal. So we somehow got a taxi and could drive to the Muscat, and then we flew from Muscat with all the family and finally in India, and we feel safe now.
So are you based in India or based in Dubai?
We are based in Dubai.
Dubai.
Dubai. So from Dubai, you were saying you drove down to Muscat. How was that experience like?
It was tough because you have to cross the UAE-Oman border and you have to got the Oman visa on arrival, and it was so much crowded with the kids and all, so it's not easy. It took us 2-3 hours with the kids, and it was but finally we made it. Full night we travel and we got the flight somehow.
So what about...
And flights were super expensive. They are charging almost 10 times than the normal one.
That's what I wanted to understand. What were your flight prices like? Normally, what is it like? What was it like this time?
See, normal prices is like when you're coming to India from one side, it will be around, if you talk in Indian rupees, it will be around 15,000-20,000. But we paid around 1.5 lakh each for each person.
Have resumed as far as operations. These are flight operations from Dubai as well as Abu Dhabi. So people stranded there are now making their way back home, especially here to India. With that, we're slipping into a short break. Back with a whole lot more on the other side with my colleague Vedika. Just stay with us.
West Asia at war. Netanyahu thanks Prime Minister on NDTV.
I spoke to our great friend, Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Spoke to him at length yesterday. Thanked him for his standing with Israel, standing for the truth.
Israel opposition leader Yair Lapid speaks to NDTV.
Is there going to be an Iranian Gandhi who will free his own people from oppression? So it's up to them.
Israel Foreign Minister